Hey, Sean. Can can you hear me? Hey, Sean.
Yep, I can hear you.
We it's nighttime. Do you see the same thing? Nighttime?
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah. First, I didn't think it rezzed completely at first, but
Right, right.
changed it up.
We just caught it at this time. Yeah.
Yeah. Must be daylight savings.
No, I think it's every 4 hours. It goes through the whole cycle.
Oh
Every
yeah.
4 hours. Yeah.
Cool.
So, however many times in 24 hours, I think it's a 4 hour cycle.
Six
Pretty sure.
times then.
Maybe. And yeah, 6 times. It's nice. It's moody. Hi,
Hey,
Scott.
Scott.
Hello, all.
How have things been for you, Scott?
Not bad. Business has started to pick up. I've got a couple of projects in works, and as we speak right now, I'm in a hotel room in Connecticut for a project. So,
Oh, cool.
yay!
Hey.
But they got HBO, which I don't have at home, so it's all good.
Nice.
How's everything going for everyone else?
It's been pretty busy. Busy.
Are you in class, out of class, Sean? What's going on?
Hi, Eileen.
Hi, Eileen. Do you have kids in classroom
Hi.
at the moment, or are you on remote?
Can you hear
Scott,
me?
you're,
Oh, there
you're
it goes.
kind of
Okay, I lost my
quiet.
mic for a
Oh,
second
there you
there.
go. We lost you.
Yeah.
So. Oh, I can't hear anybody. Okay.
Oh, can you hear me now? Hello, hello. Sean, did we lose you? Hi, Eileen. Okay.
Well, while he's restarting, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Scott, for some reason your voice is low, and I've had that problem before. Is he low to you too, Al? Can you hear him well enough?
Yeah, I hear him pretty loud and
Okay, maybe
clear.
it's me.
I
Let
just
me.
hear an echo.
I'm sitting in a hotel room in Connecticut right now, but I can put on my, enjoying the use of my computer mic, but I'll put on my headphones.
Well, let's see if just that thing
Nobody's gonna walk in on me, I hope.
solves the echo problem.
That's that might be me
Yeah, I
too.
keep on turning my mic off. So, but I have a weird setup because I've got a separate speaker and then a separate
That,
mic.
that might be it,
Yeah.
and it's going
Yeah,
through
I
your
find
mic.
that tends to cause problems. When you start adding the external devices is when you get feedback.
It's so much
Can
cleaner.
you hear me now at all?
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
maybe you can still hear me without that.
Now you're better.
You know it is. I can't hear you though.
Hang on, I'm plugging in.
You're running a bit hot there, Eileen.
Okay, I'll keep toggling my mic on and off.
How does this sound?
And
Better?
I think Bethany just arrived too. I saw her. And Al, I'm sorry. It was a crazy week. I lost my phone. Finally got it back. So I thank you for sending these slides again.
Oh,
I'll
no
get those
problem.
ready.
I
And
don't
I'll turn
believe
my
they're
mic
quite
off so
done. I
that
just want,
other people can talk because I think I was causing the problem.
whatever advice you have, and you know, we can
Al,
certainly
do you
share
want
them
to
with
talk about
others.
what you plan on doing?
Um, well, there's so many cameras, and both for still imagery and low cost and expensive. It just runs the gamut. And there are literally dozens and dozens and dozens. So I tried to narrow it down to some of the more popular ones, if you will, and cameras that sort of cover different aspects of certain cameras have certain special capabilities that others don't. So there's a lot to consider when looking at different cameras. So and then some examples of what screen capture can achieve. Both the video that we at the end of that we just recently produced, and another video that sort of gives the behind the scenes of just how one can really kind of direct a production. It's just a little snippet of our beginning session as part of the ending video. So, it just, the cameras, so some of those cameras can obviously and are optimized for headsets, and so where that's the case, I'm hunting around for some, but I can't really show 3D. I'm trying to see if it does on a YouTube page, and if you have to click anything additional in order to see it in more or less of a click and drag 3D mode, and I might add that to the part of the presentation. But it's just basically how to capture either on the screen or in real life. Just capturing, the ability to capture, and all the different cameras that are out there that have different capabilities, and just a smidgen of all the cameras that are out there. So that was the plan, Eileen, if that suits everyone.
That sounds good.
Okay.
I was wondering too something, but I'm afraid to keep on causing the echoing, so I'm turning this off. Now, Scott didn't come to some of the early meetings, so we didn't have him factored in as an organizer, but what we've done, and I'm wondering if we could keep on extending this, Bethany took the first one, I had the second one, Sean had the third one, and Al's going to take the fourth one, and I'm wondering if we could leave Scott in charge of lining things up for January and then rotate it again. So that, and then Bethany would take February, I'd do March, Sean would do April, and Al could do May. And then Scott could do June. So I was wondering, does that make sense? And maybe you guys, because I create echoes, might tell Scott a little bit the model that we thought about. And so I guess question number one is, do you think we could just keep on rotating through this academic year? And then question number two, how do we want to cue Scott as to what might be good topics?
Yeah, cue Scott, please.
And there's no echo, Eileen, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not having any echo.
Well, for me, I have to keep on turning it off because otherwise it echoes through this. And so I'm going to turn mine off, and then I have to turn something else on so I can hear you guys. So I'm a little working on two different setups. I need to get a headset that I can use, but part of the problem is it's hard to test it when you're all by yourself. And headsets tend to give me headaches, so I kind of avoid using them. But anyway, so I'll turn my mic off. But number one, do you think can we just bring Scott in on the rotation, get him responsible for a couple of the meetings, and then what do we want to suggest Scott does if he does those meetings and he's willing?
Yeah, I think you can just follow, just follow the kind of the setup that we are.
Bethany, now you cut out.
Oh, stupid trouble. Is that now you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hear
right
you.
when I say
Yep.
thankfully I didn't say it with a curse word. I was just going to say yes to the rotation. The order we have is fine.
Yeah, it works for
Okay.
me.
And then I guess Eileen wanted us to maybe give Scott an idea of what we should do, what we want to like.
Yeah, I think so. Fill me in.
So, I think what we've been trying to do is, obviously we're working within virtual worlds. We're working with, Al with sort of filming within that. I think there's a lot of different elements within these sort of innovative technologies. I think in a lot of ways applied more towards education, but I don't think it's necessarily has to be specific to education. But, I think it's about finding sort of like-minded people who kind of have their own skill set that we can sort of bring together and think about, can we do sort of consultation work? Can we do work for people who, maybe doing builds, maybe, depending on sort of the collection of skills that we have, being able to, be a group that people can come for help. So another thing we were talking about is, what already exists. We were looking at some of the different sort of virtual world groups that are out there. And then we've been talking about maybe, kind of going around and visiting those groups, sort of seeing what they're doing and then sort of fine tuning what we do, and then maybe specifics of how we would be different or maybe similar.
Well, yeah,
On
and
that,
maybe better understanding what are the needs that are emerging out in the real world, and then finding from among us those that are either have the capabilities or have are better at those skills, or are willing to kind of specialize on providing that particular kind of skill set to someone in need of help. So as we kind of formulate so that if we need, for instance, advice and guidance on machinima, I would be the one offering the help. If someone needs, say, programming, and it would seem that Scott did a lot of programming to get things to click and open and items to read and to view. That kind of technology is would help someone create a lot of things of their own. Just a little snippet of what he created on his island and his methodology would he's got lots of courses that he could offer from just his island alone, but just a little snippet of it.
Well, yeah, I could definitely, for instance, at least maybe even present something simple, low level, how to use the free version of SketchUp to create some artifacts that maybe you can't do with the in-world native tools here
There you
in
go.
Tightly.
There you go.
But it's a free tool, it's
Yeah.
open source, you can export a simple file from it. You want to get complicated, you will need the paid version. But to do doorways in walls, things like this that you can't necessarily do here in native, I'm more than willing to toss that out there. Basic script generator, a lot of those toys that are over on the other side of the island, I got from the Con Wiley script generator, which is a website, but it's very, very self-explanatory. You put in what you want it to do. You want it to give, you want it to change, you want it to move, and then the parameters, and it cranks out an OSSL script for you.
where
wow.
where is that,
It's
Scott?
awesome.
Because I totally need that.
Me too.
Google Con, C-O-N, Wiley.
CON.
A guy's name, Con Wiley, Wyle script generator, and I believe it's a UK website. So when you find something like that, put in, I think it's
Con
LSL or
Wiley's.
OSSL.
Could
Google it. You'll
Oh,
find it.
somebody put it in the text, please?
yeah. I will. Here you go. I've never seen this before. And
Oh, it's the best in town by far. And
Oh,
most
my
of
God.
those toys that I did were off of this. You know, the
Oh.
moving, color changing balls. It's just a reset stage. And if you go copy and take copies of those balls, you'll see how the script changes states from one state to the next, which gets it to move and change states.
Oh,
That-
cool.
You
that
see,
is worth-
so as we develop, those of
But
us
I'm
that
more than
have
happy to do
specialties.
January. In answer to the question, yes, Eileen, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great workshop. In fact, you know
Yeah.
what? Sorry to interject. I know you want to say something, Al, but I've mentioned before that we need to think about doing presentations, our kind of events where people don't come in, don't know any of this stuff. I think that'd be a great presentation for Scott. So I'm gonna encourage.
Yeah,
that.
and I'm also more than happy to do it for Vicara or somebody if they want to do something fun for an hour.
Well, I think it'd be great. Like I can tell you right now that CVL and Vicara would be interested in
Okay.
event for having you talk specifically about that, about how you've used this for creating scripts. Then I think
Because I
really
am not
with
a script
SketchUp.
writer per se. I job those out, the more high level ones, my password doors, things like that. They cost me about $10 in total with the various iterations. But that's some lovely girl in Germany who did all my scripting for me.
Yeah, but learning how to make something in Sketch, you said in Sketchfab.
Oh, in SketchUp, yeah.
and
SketchUp.
and importing it. We want to be able to do that. There's plenty of people who want to do that. So I would love to say yes. Let's have some event where you show. I know Yale and Vicara people would.
Okay, well, you know
Also-
what? Why don't maybe we consider inviting them to the January event?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great. Well, yeah, if you're gonna
I'll do
present
January
on
and I'll
that.
give a shtick on that. So let's plan on inviting Vicara.
Okay.
And whoever else you want, send it out there.
Yeah, we should just call it a workshops of
Yeah, students too.
hands-on workshops events. Yeah. And while I'm at it though, I think that we should think about a panel of us, who work in these desktop environments, presenting, about the, hey, here's these different tools that you have. It's not just the native tool in OpenSim or Second Life, but here's these other things that we're all fooling around with, and Scott did this presentation, blah blah blah. We need to present this at something like the Serious Play Conference, or we need to be prepared for VR Educators in VR, which is going to probably be held in Altspace again in February or March. So I think, yeah. We'll need
Okay,
to-
and I'm going to give it a plug. I'm up. Eileen and I are your opening acts on Saturday, so
Yeah,
I'm going to
not
be
even
giving it a
right.
plug.
And next week just happens to be International Computer Science Week too. So our school's doing Hour of Code, which is basically supposed to introduce kids, to their first hour of coding, kind of break the ice, and 'cause it can be kind of intimidating. So they've got a website that has all sorts of kind of coding games, a lot of block coding, but also some JavaScript, Python, a little bit of everything. But they take it from, from Sketch, from code.org, from Girls Who Code. So that's like all these
Yeah.
different websites that they put together. And basically within that week, we're trying to get the kids to all have at least 1 hour of coding under that. So, but, for the ones that are a little bit more advanced, I think some of those games are a bit too easy. So I think like that code generator is really cool because, they'll be able to actually make things happen and kind of see what the code is and how it works, but without all the kind of arduous, writing line by line of it.
Yeah. I light bulb went off as you were talking, Sean, because I think that's a perfect curriculum that would translate very well into a VR environment.
Mm-hmm.
A coding island.
I have sort of a crazy idea. I opened up the map and looked at the entirety of Marion Island, and you got a lot of little areas going on here, Eileen. But the upper, do you have any plans for the way upper left corner? Because I was just thinking that if we took an area, not consuming the entire area there, but part of that, and imported all the have a meeting area, have a classroom looking area, have other what seem to be very common areas, educational areas that are being sought right now in the real world, and try to recreate it in that one spot. And so that, Bethany, you were talking about inviting people. Well, if we had even just a spot here on Marion that has been designed to sort of quickly show people, as long as they can move about, you can show them a variety of things if it's all kind of built there, all in one place. So we've seen, huge classrooms over at the community library, and we've seen so many other types of meeting areas. The original Second Life, Empire State College, if a lot of you guys remember that. I don't know if it still exists, does it, Eileen?
No, they stopped paying for it.
Ah,
You know,
so it's
we're one of the first ones in it there too. We
yeah.
have some creds.
So Empire State College exists here, and so why not? I don't know how many people you can have at one time in that upper left quadrant, but just a thought, that as I was looking at the map, I'm saying, well, if we need a gathering spot where we can invite people, and have a variety of things to show people as possibilities for, or at least get them started. There's so many things, we did underwater with Scott. I don't know if we can even recreate that, but
Well, that's kind of where we were going with the residency, was at least starting a small seed of that in the upper right corner, but having areas that are essentially, as I told Bethany, it's a small world of virtual reality, where you've got, different classrooms and zones, and Eileen, you've got that going on behind us over here with your breakout cubicles or bullpens or whatever those are.
This meeting area is great, and we brought a lot of people into the group just in this sort of meeting area. But if we're going to really invite people to one spot, we should have control of it, and it should be a little more thought out than just a circle of chairs.
I think it should be an amphitheater, yes. Eileen, I've been meaning to say that.
And a classroom, and some sort of, I don't know, areas for activities, and just different types of educational gatherings. And there's so many different types. So maybe we can start discussing that.
As an experiential designer, I just got to say, your landing area, we need signage. I know where to go because I've been here so many times, but you end up next to a carousel and you're kind of totally lost.
And then just end up riding the carousel.
Yeah, exactly. I have.
But let me give you an update on what I've done here and why I did it this way. Because, as you know, I always say, I'm the STEM person. I write the documentation, I organize things, no sense of aesthetics, and no real time. So what I did this summer was up this to an 80-person island with the 4 groups, and I tried to get this woman who was, she was going to combine different islands, but she didn't have enough software. And she charged me $20 before to bring these 4 islands together, which are the nicer looking islands. But what she can do is kind of take existing islands and put them there. Excuse me. So she did that, and then I removed some things. She tried to get more open space, but it crashed. She didn't have enough technology to do it. And so I ultimately wound up just taking what I could get. So I had this one section of 4, which I had gotten from different artists who made them available, and they all looked nice, and everything else was blank. So I needed to come up with spaces, basically places where people could come and do presentations without the voice bleed. So that's what you're going to be seeing. And in a week, I want to see if you guys will come. So I wound up just blocking out the other part this summer, just putting up pictures. It's really rinky-dink. But it was to kind of show how quickly you could have things. And I found buildings are nice, but when you bring in newbies, they still have a hard time getting into them. So you'll see I left a lot of this open. So what I can do is, and if you all know or remember, you can download these islands. I can give them to you. But this is a big one. So I could give you everything here. There are just a couple of things the permissions don't change on. So, but the other 2 spaces are really just open. Now, right now, the students in the intro class, I've made this whole island so anybody can build on it. Now, what I did, I'm paying Kitely, I think it'll come to like $1 a month to keep the virgin version before the students mess it up. But, for me, they have to be able to come in and mess things up. So you'll see other students around here now. They're supposed to do the mess up in the big red rectangle, but then I messed them up. I didn't have the permissions set right, and I thought it wasn't a sandbox anymore. But some of them built things, it was still a sandbox, and everything got returned to them. Now, they haven't taken a course, so they're just kind of playing. So if you see some of the other avatars here right now are students in that class that are messing things up. But definitely, if you guys want to, and so I encourage everybody, just come in and play. And then they can come back later and get their own island and learn. But those upper sections are open right now. When Bethany, when the presenters presented during the residency, I was able to make them builders. And I think your builders...
I still am. I was tinkering the other day.
Kitely, I think you can build any place. But right now, anybody can build. So, I run the risk of some vague, person coming in and putting down whatever, pornographic stuff. But so far, generally, people don't do that. But I do have the backup island. But I would really encourage you. I'm at the limit of what I can do. I got islands from some people. I put up some mock-up things on the other quadrant, and I need those for students to come in and have breakout meetings. But the other 2 are really open. So please, if you have things you want to do, why don't you do that?
I have 2 things. One is
so just use them.
First is a question, totally unrelated, and then we'll get back to this. Above our names is like a title of something like a builder or friend of library, and then our name, or it could be some other kind of name. How do we change that? How can one change? I don't know how to change it.
I've never changed mine. I always just let it changes
Well,
on its own. I thought Eileen was doing it.
Right,
It,
but
it doesn't change. It doesn't change by itself, you guys. You click on the communications tab on the top left if you're in
yeah.
groups. And so you're wearing a group tag of some sort, and I can tell you, friend of the library is one of the CVL tags. So you attended an event or something at some point.
Yes.
So if you go to groups and then you look at your different groups, like I'm a member of Art, CVL, Library.
Can one create a group?
Yes, you can, and that's one of the things you can do to control your land. Like, for example, Eileen, you might not want your for any build, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And then you create a group like called like I'm a member of your builders group. Build here. It says member. ESC Builders, that's your group, I believe. But if you guys click on one of those groups like ESC Builders, and I can click on group titles, and there's Builder and Bulldozer, that kind of thing. Let's see. Librarians and Kitely, that's a L thing. Titles in there. I'm looking for the friends of the library because I'm thinking you guys are friends. But anyways, you can just change. You can just go into a different group and activate the title. So if I go into CVL and activate a different group title, I can do that. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mm,
Owner of video. So see, Al changed his group. Yeah.
okay. Cool.
I
Can
was
we
just going to
also
mention too.
change
Yeah, Eileen,
what
you've
it
got all this
says?
land and like the. Yeah, I don't think you need doing anything. I know Scott already has his own land. I have my own Kitely World as well, where I'm putting exhibits and examples of stuff so, at some point we might do a tour, do a hypergrid tour where it's like, come join us here, this location, and then like jump around to other
Yeah,
places.
I would like to do that.
Just show. Now you can't show everything, right? Like it's too big, right? Shadow Glen is too big.
Yeah, but one or
And
two areas.
But I could just say, hey, here's the cruise ship and what I'm doing for these students in the spring semester.
Right.
So we can arrange some like virtual tours. So
Give them kind of an idea of what's available.
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I've said the more they tour and travel around, the more you understand how much depth this medium has. Although, as
Yeah.
you point out, you've got a 10-person island. Yeah. That is
Yeah.
an issue.
no, but a standard Kitely World is 40 people, so I can accommodate 40 avatars. And most of the events I attend in World, I don't ever think I see, unless we go to the like OpenSim conference or event.
Well, we need a place to, and not a really huge place, but a place that we could build as a real, honest to goodness INP center where we can showcase a few of the things and just get people, launched, and we need to find a builder. And I was thinking, Eileen, if our professor, who's the expert builder,
Well, what about you, Al? Are you
well,
a builder? Do you have a virtual world?
I do, and I can help out.
Oh.
But I don't consider myself a master builder.
I'm not either. I started.
Someone like
Elaine right now is a dean and doesn't have time anymore. What she did was she
Professor
did some
Elaine.
building, but she got to know the builders. She farmed most of what you see on her islands were things she got from others. And Scott, I think, negotiated too.
She put me in touch with the builder that I work
Creative
with.
Commons islands are put out there so that you ultimately get to like their style, and then you hire the person, because they need to make a living too. So we could look to see we could get funding. Right now, I do have that space, and if you guys want to start building, even just proof of concept practice. Plus, I always tell my students too, come in any time. I said if there's a group of people, it might be a meeting, and then they could either join. Generally, nothing's being said that they would be unable to hear, but you could have clusters here, but get more ideas, and then maybe someday we'll get an island just dedicated to that. I mean, Kitely still has very good prices, and what I'm doing with OpenSim this week is I'm going to be trying to get them to help me. If we could really go back to open source and build it up, but then you realize when you do that, you don't have the avatars, you don't have the front-end interface, all the things that I wish we had an IT department at Empire State College to help us with. But right now it's just Eileen bootstrapping herself. So I'm going to be trying to ask there for more people to help. But I think in the meantime, it's still, you're going to get going a lot faster just renting from Kitely. They do an awfully good job. My only worry is, are they making enough money to stay in business? So I honestly get more afraid that they're going to go out of business. But I think that their costs are very good. So I'll turn my mic off now.
Eileen,
Why are you
talking? But know that you can have anything here. You please keep on building.
Why are you concerned that Kitely's going to go out of business? I feel like they're very successful. They're one of the largest virtual.
And most responsive.
Yeah. Why are you worried that they're going to go out of business? I think they
Well,
I have
the thing I look at is I have been I've been with them for 8 years, and I keep on seeing the numbers. The numbers kind of grow, but then a lot of people come in and then they don't keep their islands, and so I just keep on wondering what their cash flow really is. And the fact that they're so responsive, that the CEO is very responsive is great, but that suggests to me it's not a really big organization. So I'm hoping, I've been, Bethany got us going on Mozilla Hubs, and I love it. But then I find how limited it is. But, it's got a big organization behind it. So I want to, I'd like to just keep Elon and Kitely going forever. They really kind of earn their money. And I know they have these creative things going. Also, they have a meeting on Sundays, and they encourage everyone to come to find out more. I just kind of read between the tea leaves, and I'm saying I don't see, I just try to figure what the cash flow is, So anyway, but I just get a little nervous being, the one crop south with, so I'm always looking to make sure we have a backup vendor. But Kitely's done the best so far.
Yeah, but there are plenty of other places we could go if Kitely goes out of business, like other places.
Right, but I think it
Mike
also
cutting out?
speaks to
a
you
little
are
bit.
cutting out.
Sorry.
I will say it speaks to the idea that I think they need to have a dedicated Verbella type space. That you don't necessarily have to buy into building the island. You can rent it. You can do whatever you need to do to generate some cash flow. But that's also playing into what Al's saying, having a dedicated ESC space. And I'm more than happy. I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and try and build, if I have time, because I've got huge projects going on, but maybe build you a little amphitheater for whatever we're going to do in January, as an example.
Yeah, I mean, we can build whatever we want in the upper left-hand corner. I think we should have teleports to other virtual environments, Kitely and OpenSim, but then I don't want to duplicate what the Community Virtual Library has. I built the Hypergrid Resource Library, which I'll be happy to connect to here, which is like, hey, if you want to go check out some different virtual environments that are being used for education, just go to the Hypergrid Resource Library on Kitely and go to the space station and teleport to all these other locations. So, because I already have a bunch of teleports to do.
And that is the beauty of being where we are. We don't need to reinvent the wheel on every single island.
Right. And even if something were to happen, if Kitely was going to be not doing well and going to go out of business, we can save our whole build as an OAR file, right? Our thing is go to OpenSim, go rent land.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. Let's whatever we can muster together to create a launching pad, not a be-all and end-all environment. Small enough that a small group of people can join in, and then from there, once we've got the launching pad, we can provide links to what Bethany is discussing, and you want to see other things. Well, here, let's take you on a tour, and obviously that could be absolutely part of the experience, but a place to start off with that's not just a circle of chairs.
Yeah, definitely want to showcase, the value of coming in here. If we can show them like why we're even using it, not that it's just like some gimmick that we can go into and walk around like a game, but really, well, what can we use this for? Because I don't think it's intuitive for a lot of people to really understand the potential that really is within here. You've got the programming and the building and, the creative spaces and the, and it is a great communication platform. And then the library resources. So, I think, showcasing that in a very sort of inviting and clear way. I don't think we should also just sort of throw up a whole bunch of stuff and overwhelm people either.
No, just a few examples just to whet the appetite of what the possibilities are. That's all we could expect to achieve.
Yeah, so maybe what we should do about you
You're dropping out.
We lost you, Bethany.
Ah, I don't know what's going on with my mic, guys. I'm so sorry. I swear I'm not touching anything. But yeah, let's use the upper left-hand corner. We can just put up just some exhibits showcasing just a couple places. Like each one of us could pick one place as an example location, right? To have here's this place, and here's how to go get there, and we're going to have these adventure outings, and let's go visit this. Find out from the developer what their vision was or how they used.
That's
Right.
definitely a great starting point.
So that's it could be self-paced. Anybody could show up, and literally it'd be just simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's, 4 of us, but we could have 4 or 5 locations. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Here's this one place, and here's what's about it, and here's how to get there. Here's this other. Here's this other.
Technical question for you.
Yeah.
When I was doing prep for the October event, and I ran into an issue with the teleports because that's an owner-only level command.
The teleports where?
To anywhere. So I could not use my teleport script on this island. It works on Shadow Glen beautifully. I can go out of Shadow Glen and into Marion. I can hypergrid that way, but I couldn't generate the script on Marion to send you back to Shadow Glen. It required there's a whole listing of LSL commands that are owner-only operations. So it's something that Eileen would have to cut, and she could do it as a cut and paste.
Yeah, but we don't need, it doesn't need to be that complicated. Any place that's hypergrid enabled, we can get the location, the hypergrid address, and you just say, here, this is the hypergrid address. Pull up the world map, paste that in your map, and
using
click
the world
go.
map as opposed to actually using a hypergrid gate. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
I was
because
thinking
honestly,
Stargate.
hypergrid gates are a pain in the butt, and I had a guy from Avicon built me one because I was having so much trouble, and he
I have a really great script that works again from your own island. I can put teleport links to anywhere, but it's getting you back. I mean, you can use
well, you don't have the permissions. You go to somebody's place on. Have to give you.
lost.
This stupid mic not working.
Keep losing you. Eileen, I changed the heading above me to member of ESC Builders.
Yes.
But does that alone grant me the ability to build on this island?
Yeah. Res a box right here.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's a good way to test it. I might have to, I have to always go back to my own manuals and look them up because you can give different people permission. Hopefully all of you can build right now because I made the whole island. And anyone can build on it. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't mind if you guys would just try
Sure.
to build something. Now, the problem was, and that's not though because you're necessarily ESC builders. That's because the island right now is open. And that's why I'm actually paying Kitely to save a version of this because I encourage the students to be creative and silly, and they do. So I did ask them to put their really silly stuff over under the red rectangle, and that if they want to, because they're designing something for their collaborative final project, and they have to use a VR space as some part of the activity. So some of them actually will come in and do some building. So you may see that. So I'm anticipating the island's going to get pretty messed up, and I'll just, take one of the copies. But I'm always saving things. But I can make people hear what I was trying to find out, even for my own avatars, to give a couple of avatars owner rights. I couldn't figure out how to do it. So if any of you learn how to do that, that would be a good idea because then you don't run into the permissions issue. One thing I also learned very much the hard way about giving people the terraforming rights, I have messed up more things with terraforming, and I still think it's very glitchy. With the students, I let them do things, but I just don't let them play with the terraforming.
Yeah,
So,
never.
But this island is here. I would encourage all of you to keep on experimenting. I can clean up the landing area, and put a signpost there, so anything there. But the rest of it, I just won't have time to, get it in better shape. But, you guys own the upper left. Although you see I put some emergency stuff up there, but I
Yeah.
think most of it is clear. So you all should be able to build there, and I'll make sure that everybody is ESC Builder. So even after, even after I turn the global permissions off, you should still be able to build. So I'll turn my mic off so I don't create an echo.
So speaking of building, I've been in Mozilla Hubs a bit lately, and so I took I've got 4 kids in my club with me, and so we've been kind of exploring that a bit. And what's really cool is, so we've been using Discord as sort of a communication platform. So that's where we meet to talk and everything. And so the kids actually figured out there is a Hubs bot that you can put in Discord, which can generate a place that you can, it creates a link in a room that you can go straight into. And then it also updates the chat with, different things that you're doing within there. So it's been a really cool way to sort of, keep track of what we're doing. So we have a channel that's specifically for the HubSpot. And so this week on Monday, we've been we jumped into Spoke, and we've been working with that and trying to figure out how that all works. So because we have a photography club and art club that is looking to sort of do a gallery. So we're thinking that would be a good sort of entry point, maybe just do a little room that we put up, a handful of pictures. Bethany, thank you very much for all of that. It's been great. The kids really like it too. So that, it's pretty simple to use. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of cool too because we were playing around with the different. You can change it to look like a classroom or look like an art gallery. But it seems like the art gallery was all that it comes with. I couldn't figure out. It was like all one piece. It wasn't like I could just switch out pictures. But we're looking to see what we can do to build. But we're all still kind of in the infancy of that. But yeah, and it's definitely. Go ahead.
Hubs is limited, yeah. But for what it does, which nobody has to download anything, it's super easy. We hope to use it as a way to lure people into the more robust places that are like this. But for getting people in, you
It's a nice gateway.
Yeah, and the kids I'm working with don't have really the best computers, so this has been nice because they really haven't had any barriers to entry. But is there anything, I went through the tour of Spoke that when you first open it up, it goes through. But is there anything, Bethany, that you could suggest for, us to learn how to build better within there? Because we're all just still trying to figure it out.
It just takes playing around. I don't love building there. I still prefer building in here because it's so much easier, I find, to pan and control the view with these camera controls. Hubs and if Verbella Frames is the same way. It's basically the same kind of platform. It's clunky, it's hard. You're navigating the view around and trying to move stuff, and I'm going to be doing a workshop, and when I shop for Spoke, which I'll probably have some whatever videos or anything
That'd be great, Bethany. I've been trying. I go over there. What I liked about it was when you got to Spoke, it actually had the kind of interface with the concepts of assets and, the different, what do they call it, the hierarchies that you'll see if you get over to Unity and places like the really big game engines. So I think it's kind of a model I was thinking for K-12, for someone like Sean, who might want to be starting the kids. It's free, it's easy. But, I found I was going crazy trying to figure out how to expand the size of things. I think it's just very limited. But it teases you into things. And I'm trying to get documentation together too. So what I do is as I teach myself, I keep on trying to get screen captures, but I don't have anything really ready. But I'd like to show it to the Mallet students when they come in as some of the new things that are coming up. So I'm trying to get to that level. But, but Bethany, as you keep on saying, it just makes you long for something more robust. And, I think, but if I can get you guys, if we can help Elon, Selby always goes to those meetings, and Selby's always nudging him. If there's any way we could get desktop-based, and that's what I'm going to keep on, web-based, but that just can't happen. The only way you can do web-based is to have very low-level graphics. So, anyway, but I will be trying to bring this up at the conference on Saturday to get people to kind of come in and fill in a wiki with what do they know so we can keep on building up a community knowledge base. So anyway, I'll turn my mic off, but I think we're really at the hub of what's going on, but I kept on envying some of the stuff they have. But Mozilla is running that, and they've got people, it looks like they're programmers when they have time, jump in and start filling in their websites, so I expect we're going to get more there, but I'm envious that they have all these resources. And I'm trying to figure a way that we can do that with no budget and very, very little stuff, but, the interest. So I'll turn my mic off now.
Yeah, you can download the code yourself and run.
Yeah, I think the other thing that has a lot of potential is, and that was something because I had sent Ilana a message too, about being able to use Chromebooks and things like that in Kitely, and one of his suggestions was he pointed me towards, I guess, like a cloud-based server that gamers use, and I think that definitely has a lot of potential too, because if we can get people to log into something like that, that just really opens up who can access this.
Is this too much for students on I've never used a Chromebook. Is this Kitely?
Yeah, the viewer it only has PC and Mac options for downloading.
Oh.
Oh yeah, you cannot Chromebook Kitely.
Oh. Yeah, these are too big. This is so robust, but I'll have to tell you. One of
I lost you, Bethany.
hubs. LOL. Not hubs.
Yeah, you can't even see your avatar in Hubs unless you take a selfie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I see our time is kind of running out, or at least mine is. So, I think what we've determined is, who's going to kind of own each month. And so it's going to be up to you folks for the month. But the idea, too, of really using this upper left quadrant, and even if the students get building, well, in worst case, I'll just do an auto return if students put stuff up there. But I think they're going to be kind of minimalistic, but why don't you start developing things there? Scott, if you have something you want to bring there and demonstrate in your month, but if not, just please do that. I will try to clean up the landing area, and then if you have some signs you want to put there, but why don't we keep on experimenting in this space with the idea that we'll figure out what needs to be in a more pristine space. And
makes sense.
yeah.
It'd be great also if we could put together a calendar of events. So, not just for our own meetings, but, for other virtual events that are happening and things like that. I always kind of get lost of when things are. So,
Yeah.
something we could also share with others to bring in, show them what's the different professional development opportunities and such.
Yeah, that would be great. I think it's easy enough with Google Calendars too. And I Bethany, did you start one of those, or we could start one? Yeah, we could find that. It's easy to do, but I guess the question becomes today you can proliferate so many Google things, and so I have 70 websites right now. So I go crazy. I get starting too many things. So I think it's knowing one place to put things. And Al, one thing, you have a small island. For $5 more a month, you can expand it to a 4-island piece. And then you can get 40 people there, and you would have a lot of space then to build on more. The only thing is, I don't think it would break anything to do it, but I always hesitate if you do it and maybe some of your scripts don't work, but I think you can do that. It gives you more space to test things out. So anyway, I'm going to turn off my mic, but I think I have kind of the to-do
I'll
list
see how it
in my
goes
head.
here in
And
that little
Al,
section.
I'll get Al's slides out to everybody before the week, but I have some 70 students that I have to get all prepped and ready to speak. Oh, one more thing. The
Well,
next
I don't
meeting-
think it's quite finished yet. Just
The day-
give me a few more days.
right after the meeting, from the meetings like 6:30 to 7:30, from 7:30 to 8:30, there are going to be 8 capstone students and another 8 STEM project students that are going to be doing presentations. They're going to have poster sessions. So if you want to stay on for that,
Next
please
week?
do. And I'm also going to invite the INP group to, also if they want to stay on to see any of those as well.
And that's after next
So,
week's meeting, right, Eileen?
It's going to be back-to-back meetings. So I'm going to turn my mic off. Sorry.
Yeah, that sounds
Is-
great.
Is that after next week's meeting, Eileen?
Yeah,
Okay.
that will be next Wednesday night. And if anyone's interested, next Tuesday night, there are 34 students right now in the intro class. Al and Scott, you were in, and Sean, you were in with about 10. We have 34 students now, which is why I'm going a little crazy with trying to get everything done. They're all going to be doing report outs. I have them do a more formalized collaborative project right now. And so when you see people popping in and out here, they're in that class. And some of them are building. We've got somebody developing a healthcare system. We have a couple of emergency medical people. One at Stony Brook, one of the big universities on Long Island. He's developing, and I was watching, he was building, he's trying to get, and probably will get funding for artificial intelligence, augmented reality. He's working with the police, and he's working with the emergency services. He's a helicopter pilot. He wants, to look in all of these things, and I notice he's been starting to do a lot of building. He's able to get some grant money, or he thinks he can get some big grant money, because everybody now, there's such a need to develop healthcare facilities quickly, so there's a lot of money going into that. And so he's using these for kind of proof of concept. So we're seeing a combination of a lot more K-12 coming in and a lot more on the higher end. So if you guys can, if you're around on Tuesday, but they're not going to be very formal. This is the intro class. So I'll tape it if you want to see it. But if you want to see an interesting thing, I'm not sure how it's going to run with 34 students who are all newbies. But I've kind of used to it. But that's how they learn. So I'll stop
Is that
talking.
Tuesday at 7:30?
And I do have to run out myself in a little bit. I'm trying to read 6 more papers tonight. Oh, that looks nice. Bethany, it sounds great. Let me turn my mic off.
Yeah, I've got to run too, folks. So,
All right.
Well, nice to see everybody.
Yeah, good to see everybody.
Guys,
Eileen,
later.
send out a reminder about whatever you're doing on Tuesday, whatever time it is, and if I have time, I'll pop by.
Okay, that'd be great. If anybody, yeah, I'll send it out. It's going to be a
All
little bit of chaos, But I think for any of you who really want to see big groups, it's kind of worth seeing the chaos and giving me group. Actually, it's the same group that was at the residency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'll send a note out, and I'll try to get some summary notes together here. But I'm kind of meeting to crazy between now and next Wednesday. But then it'll slow down. So anyway.
All right. Well, have a lovely evening, everyone.
Yeah, thank you,
You as well.
everybody.
Take
Nice
care.
seeing you. Okay, bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Night.